to you. You. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Won't you share with a friend or two? Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning to you. And many more. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yesterday, many of you all just let me talk without telling me that it was Wednesday and not Thursday. So I did my thinking Thursday yesterday, and now it's Thursday. So I'm going to backtrack and I'm going to do Wednesday today. All right. So this is all about relationship boundaries. So those of you who normally catch me on Thursday, where we're talking about forgiveness, today we are switching because yesterday we talked about forgiveness. Today we're going to talk about boundaries. So if you only watch on Thursdays, I'm sorry. You can catch yesterday's broadcast and you'll see what we covered on forgiveness from yesterday. So today we are backing up and we are talking about boundaries. So if you're with me for the first time, this is how it goes. Monday, we cover something on inspiration. Teachable Tuesday, our primary focus is on Black life. Wednesdays is relationships and all things relationships. So whether that be parents, whether that be family, whether that be individual, etc. And the two books that we're reading are really talking about reclaiming your own boundaries, and the other book is talking about how to deal with setting boundaries in different family dynamics, primarily when your family is dysfunctional. Thursdays, we typically do Theology Thursday, Thinking Thursday, which covers anything from faith concepts to philosophical concepts. And then Friday, we close it out, Get Free Friday, with something again to inspire you, something around your health, something around finances at times, depending on the books that we are reading. All right. So I know that everybody doesn't show up every day, which is why we cover something different every single day. So if you're only here for certain days, that's why you'll see us reading different books every single day. All right. Yesterday, I want to start off with yesterday, I was on a just a basic errand for myself. I was stopping by the post office, getting some things ready for holiday cards and all that I'll be sending out. And I was looking for some postage stamps, by the way. And let me say this about postage stamps because I did not know this until I was talking to the postal director the other week. But postage stamps are supposedly set to increase in price every 6 months. Now, they said they're not going to increase them right at the top of the year this time, but you'll see another increase in postage stamps. I think she said come June, July. So I just want to make you aware of that because I didn't know how much postage stamps had jumped. The last time I was buying an individual stamp, I think they were like 53 cents. Well, postage stamps are now 73 cents a stamp. Um, and so a book of them now is $14 and I think 30 cents or something like that. $14.30 or $14.60. Anyway, the point of that is that if you purchase your stamps, right? These are now forever stamps. That means no matter how many times the postage stamp price goes up, you will never have to add more postage to cover a stamp. So one of the things that I suggest for people who like letter writing, or you've got lots of mail that you do by snail mail, go ahead and purchase you some solid books of stamps or a page of stamps, which is about 20 stamps. because the price is going to go up every 6 months. That is what they are proposing on a regular basis. So your individual stamps are going to continue to go up in price. However, when you're buying a book, you're basically locking in the price as it is now. So I got these lovely ones that look like stickers, but they're actually postage stamps. And then I also got um, the Underground Railroad series ones. And these will be reserved for special deliveries. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to say that. But while I was out doing that errand, I stumbled upon a whole bin of books left outside and tagged with free to all or free to any. And good morning to everybody that's coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, how are you? All right. Um and inside of this bin there was all kinds of books, but all of the books pretty much had a theme. Now I thought it was interesting because I wasn't looking for this uh little surprise moment, but it was there. So I'm going to show you some of the books that I pulled out. Some of the books I pulled out, this one, and I've sanitized the books. I used to work in the library, and so one of the things that I do to sanitize books is I spray them and wipe them down with some alcohol to sort of sanitize from wherever they've been. Um, But I love calligraphy. I have some calligraphic pens, and this is actually something that I'm probably going to keep for myself because I want to practice and get better. But here are some of the books that were just hung out to dry. This one is actually now a banned book in a lot of places. A lot of libraries are removing this book. But yeah, Toni Morrison, Sitting on the Side of the Road. Can you imagine? Another one here. I've actually heard of this book. I saw this in a black bookstore a couple months ago over in DC. Coming of Age, African American Male Rites of Passage. And I know exactly who I'm probably going to gift this book to. This is a book I've actually been looking for um, because it goes along with some other reading that I've been doing on oppression and enslavement and all that. This was Sitting on the Side of the Road, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. This is a very, very popular book. But I also, from my understanding, it is also a banned book. People are removing it because people apparently don't want to hear about oppression anymore as they're getting ready to repeat some lessons we didn't learn as a country. And then this. I was like, what is Black Panther doing on the side of the road? So I have some preteens that I'm going to be sending this to. Battle for Wakanda, Sitting on the Side of the Road. And then these are from a publisher that focuses on publishing teen writers. Okay. These are the teen writers they're focused on publishing. And then this one is called Break It Down, Reflections on Hip Hop from Young Minds. So this is young people writing about what hip hop means to them. And then this one is the STEM Detectives, writing about science, technology, engineering, and math, and solving mysteries through them. Those are the books that are being left on the side of the road. So I want to encourage you. Number one, if you see that happening, do what you can to preserve some books. I couldn't get everything because I had my hands full and I didn't have space, but I did try to get what I could. The second thing is also check into your local libraries because a lot of them are, again, removing books. Some of them are taking those books and selling them through Amazon Market, which again is terrible. But you might be able to get some of those books before they hit or before they deliver them to like an Amazon Market. So if you are looking for books, you're looking for banned books, check out your local library to see what they are discarding on a regular basis. All right. Now, I want to get into our reading for today. Let's see. We have drama free, and she's talking about how to manage relationships with people who won't change, and that might be um yeah, let's go ahead and finish this chapter for her before we do the other chapter. So today we will just cover drama free, a guide to managing unhealthy family relationships. By the way, as we talk about relationships, there is lots of fallout happening as a result of November 5th here in the United States. I don't know what's maybe happening in other parts of the world, but I do know here in the United States, there is a lot of fallout happening. People are getting disinvited from family gatherings. Some men are being served with divorce papers from their wives. And people keep saying, well, this was just an election. It was, and some people are saying, no, these are fundamental ideological differences in how you view humanity. This election for a lot of people was a referendum on how do you view humanity? Do you think that everyone has the right to exist? Or do you only think that some people have the right to exist? Do you think that everybody should have human rights? Or do you think that some people should have human rights? Those are the things that people are coming out of this election cycle understanding. That there are some people who absolutely take pleasure in harming other people. And then there's the rest of us. So family dynamics are going to look a little different for a lot of people this holiday season and going into 2025. So go back into this chapter here. How to manage relationships with people who won't change. Because that is the other thing I think some people are realizing through this election process, that there's some people that are so wrapped in their egregore, in their ideology, in their understanding of how the world works, even if that understanding is not placed in reality, that they are unwilling to change how they see things. They are unwilling to deal in facts. They are unwilling to look at data. They are stuck in whatever they feel about whoever they feel. So a lot of people are dealing with that. So today she's talking about distance is a coping strategy and how to shift your role in people's life and how to accept what you see without changing who you are. So let's get into it. Distance is a coping strategy. When you're ambivalent about staying in a relationship and not ready to leave, it's okay to create some distance between yourself and the other person. Distancing yourself is strategic and can start with the small step of making yourself less available to them. And that's what's going to happen during this holiday season. A lot of people are just making themselves less available to people that they have ideological differences with. In dysfunctional families, a conversation about your need for space can end in one of two ways. Your request is honored or the relationship is damaged. You know which family members can handle a discussion about your need for space and which ones might do better if you take space without a direct explanation, based on how they've responded in the past. Now, this is even a safety issue for some people because there have been cases over the holidays where that disinvited or that uninvited relative shows up anyway. We've had a couple of instances of this in the last, I would maybe say 5 or 6 years, where that person shows up to the gathering and unalives the people they feel offended by because they are now being put outside of the family dynamics. So for some people, it might be a issue of safety to take that space without a direct explanation. Some of the reasons you may find yourself needing to take a break. Your energy is adversely affected by interactions with the person. You become easily frustrated or short-tempered when you're with them. You feel that your boundaries aren't being honored. You don't feel comfortable being yourself around this person. I don't know. I would not want to be around somebody shouting, "Your body, my choice," for example. You're in a different season in your life. As our priorities and interests shift, our people may shift as well. If you've developed an interest in plants, for example, you might want to be around other people with the same interest. Likewise, if all your friends are going through a divorce while you're trying to make your marriage work, you may not want to be around them. It's okay to focus on your needs and take a pause. Recognize, however, that ignoring people isn't the same as distancing yourself. Both might achieve the same goal of creating space, but ignoring someone is passive and lacks intention. Distancing is an intentional process to allow you to maintain the relationship. Now, again, some people are saying, I don't want to distance. I'm not interested in maintaining this relationship. Our differences have widened the gap to the point where I don't want to be around you anymore. And a lot of people are dealing with this when it comes to family dynamics, right? I often say that when you are having issues within a family, you can't always cut yourself off from everything connected to a family gathering. But as she said, you can distance yourself. You can certainly do that. So, what can distancing look like? Allowing a person's call to go to voicemail and calling them back when you're in the right headspace to talk to them. Steering conversation away from topics you aren't comfortable discussing. If someone is coming into a family gathering and all they want to do is talk about the incoming administration, and that person thinks that that administration is great and fantastic, and you think that that administration is a concentration camp staff, you probably are going to have an issue with trying to have a conversation with them, right? So if you want to be in the space, try steering the conversation away from topics that you aren't comfortable discussing with this person or that person. Directly declining an invitation, not asking people to be involved in certain aspects of your life. Now, I was having this another sidebar conversation with someone else, and they were saying that they couldn't understand why some of the younger demographics were voting a certain way. I said, well, have you looked at the data on wealth transfer? They were like, no, I haven't really looked at it. I said, the largest wealth transfer is getting ready to happen ever. And guess where all of that wealth is sitting? All of that wealth is sitting in older generations who are getting ready to pass that wealth down to younger generations. And I've heard from two different people who said, well, I know that this person is really set in their ways and I don't really agree with a lot of their politics, but I have to get along with them and not really rock the boat if I want to see my inheritance come to me. So again, when people say, well, why are some of these people, why does it seem like they're voting against their own interests? I think we should look and dig a little deeper into that. Sometimes people in older generations do hold ideological perspectives over people's heads to say, hey, if I'm going to be giving you this, if I'm going to be passing this down to you, it needs to do X, Y, and Z. It needs to stay in our family. And when I say stay in our family, I'm not just talking about, passing down wealth into the family, but also some people have some very strong beliefs about ethnicity and keeping their family, quote unquote, pure. And some of that is tied into who they're willing to leave their wealth to. I know one person right now, I'm not going to say their name, but their parents are straight racists. Straight racists. One of the parents said, over my dead body, will my daughter marry a black man? And they died. The other parent said, this black person cannot come around. They can't be on my property. They can't come to my house. And that daughter is acquiescing to those parents because she has an inheritance coming. So she's not willing to break with her racist parents' ideology because she wants the money. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people like that. They're like, well, I don't believe what my family believes, but they are leaving this wealth to me. So I do kind of need to fall into line a little bit in order to receive the wealth. I'm like, no, you believe it. You just believe it racism light. So that is happening. What does ignoring look like? Ignoring can look like not following up with people, shutting people out completely, being indirect when someone requests something of you. With distance, if you desire, you can stay in a relationship while taking the space you need, as long as the other person respects your boundaries. Of course, distance may not be an option in abusive relationships where the other person does not respect your boundaries. Engaging with people less often can be a method for preserving a relationship. Shifting your role. If you're known for being a certain way, that doesn't mean you have to stay the same. You can shift your role in your family to fit who you are today. If you were once the responsible person for everyone, it doesn't mean you always have to be that person. If you were once the quiet one, you don't always have to be quiet. Who are you really beyond the labels you've been assigned in your family? This is a really good question. Who are you really beyond the labels you've been assigned in your family? Start being yourself in your family as a way of shifting your role within it. At first, your other family members will be surprised to see your changes in you, but allow them to be shocked without going back to the version of yourself that doesn't fit with what you're now trying to create in your family and who you are now. And finally, acceptance gives you peace. The discussion of acceptance bears repeating. Stop letting others get under your skin when they're simply being themselves. When people don't change, you can change your reaction to people. As we saw in an earlier example, Tiffany decided to no longer be shocked by her mother's spending habits, and in so doing, she found her own peace. This doesn't mean, of course, that she ignores or allows her mother's behavior to be harmful to her. If you aren't sure how to respond, think about how you've handled unwanted behaviors in the past and try something different. Determine how you would ideally respond in the future and start making small steps toward responding in a way that feels good for you instead of reverting to familiar unhealthy patterns. It's okay to be bothered, and you don't have to pretend that you aren't. Nevertheless, acceptance and shifting your role in the family can help you feel less bothered. If you want to maintain relationships with people who will not change, it is up to you to make changes. You will have to do the work to accept what you see and build patience for what is outside your control. Remember that dealing with certain problematic behaviors is a choice. If you choose to maintain the relationship because it's worth keeping, you're making a choice to stay, even if it means struggling to accept the other person. So again, that choice is going to be up to you. Nobody can force you to stay. But if you're choosing to stay and hang in there and hang out with someone that you know will not change, that means you're accepting a level of whatever comes along with that relationship with that person. You can't pick your family, but you can decide who you want to have in your life. And those are the people that we often call our chosen family. All adult relationships are a choice. No one is forcing you to be in an unhealthy relationship. You will be presented with the same problems until you commit to making different choices. So say this to yourself today. I am choosing to stay in this relationship despite what the relationship is. Be honest with yourself. I am not stuck. I am not powerless, and I am making a choice. Now, whether or not you want to remain in that choice is going to be up to you. Now, she does have an exercise here, and I encourage you to do it. Grab your journal or a piece of paper And think about these questions and write down your response. What have you attempted to change about a family member? Have you recognized that this is something that's unchangeable? Are you willing to accept that this thing about that family member may not change? What do you need to change about handling certain problematic behaviors? Are you running from them? Are you hiding? Are you ignoring? What are you doing? Are you distancing? Distancing is a coping strategy. And then lastly, what are you able to control in the relationship? What is it that you can control? Can you control how much time you're spending with them? Can you control their access to you? Can you control how much you talk to them on the phone or through social media? Can you control whether or not you are taking part in various events with them? Think about the ways in which you can take control over that relationship. All right. So that is dealing with managing relationships with people who won't change. Next time, we'll begin chapter 9, which means we'll be talking about ending relationships when others won't change. When is it necessary to just end the relationship? So we'll talk about that next time. I want to thank you for your time and attention if you're watching by YouTube. If you want to join us for the talk back, that is on Instagram. You can follow the handle at Daring Dialogues and meet us there. Until tomorrow, have a great and wonderful day. Be well, and most importantly, be light.